So I'm going to bring before you one from among us who do not need an introduction. We know him. I remember him way back in Miami, Florida, when he first came down. And I've been one of his students, one of his admirers for basically all my Islamic life. And we're so thankful to Allah Ta'ala that He has blessed us to have in our midst a jewel with us, Imam Qasim Ahmed, a man that does not need an introduction.
Hi,
My name's JC McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Without further ado and delay, I would like to bring to us, inshallah, Imam Qasim Ahmed, inshallah. Takbir. 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 Allahu Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitaba wa lam yaj'al lahu iwaja. Qayyiman liyundhira ba'san shadidan min ladunhu wa yubashshira al-mu'minina alladhina ya'lamuna as-salihati anna lahum ajran hasana. والحمد لله الذي أنزل علينا كتابا مبينا وكان آخر ما نزل من آياته اليوم يئس الذين كفروا من دينكم فلا تخشوهم واخشوني اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام الدين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله هدى من شاء إلى الصراط المستقيم وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Dear beloved believers, Muslims, Imams, we have said praise be to Allah who has sent down His Quran, and there's nothing in it crooked. It is straight, upright, and explicit, and it serves as a warning to those who reject faith, but it gives good news to the believers who work righteousness and seek to develop their potentialities. We witness that there is nothing, absolutely nothing worthy of worship except Allah, who is one and without partner, and we witness that Muhammad is His messenger. And we ask that the praise and peace be upon Muhammad, upon his family, upon his companions, and upon us. Dear beloved believers, Muslims, I want to address you as Imams in a way that will give us more insight on our role and our responsibility as Imams. One of the first things we should understand is that Imam means leader. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is our accepted leader because Allah approved of him. He approved of him because he lived according to a nature that Allah created him in as the human being, and he lived that nature to his highest potential. If we understand this, we will understand why he was given the guidance for all time. That is called Quran, as we know. Imam Nuriddin Muhammad rahimahullah alayhi, he told me once, I asked him, I said, Brother Imam, I was on the Council of Imams at that time, and we had one of those knockdown, drag-out meetings, I guess you could call it. And it just disturbed me so much, so I was talking with him. I said, Brother Imam, when do you think that our community is going to get out of all this fitna, disagreement, arguing, etc.? He said, Qasim, he said, when our community learns the Quran in its revealed language, he said, you're going to see most of this disappear. He said, because Allah will speak to him himself. And one of the things he emphasized is that you cannot have an Islamic community or an Islamic life without the Quran guiding it. People have tried. They've come up and said, I have Islam, but you see none of the dressings of Islam. The Quran is the Imam. I want to let you know that. We call ourselves Imams, but what make us that if it's not the Quran? Can the Imam lead prayer without the Quran? Huh? No. The community, the Jummah represents the Jummah represents the community. And when you're addressing the community, you have to lead that community with the Quran. If you got up and start, I don't care how beautiful your hadith knowledge is, if you got up and start reciting hadith or fiqh or seerah or whatever it is to lead the prayer, someone with intelligence is going to say, Subhanallah ya akhi Imam. Glory to thee, O Allah, my brother Imam. But you're wrong. How important it is then if you cannot lead the prayer with a congregation or by yourself. You can have your own private prayer, but you have to lead your private prayer with Quran. So, Muhammad the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave the Quran as he was taught the Quran. In the Quran it says, Ar-Rahman, Allama al-Quran, Khalaq al-Insan, Allamahu al-Bayan. These verses from Surah Al-Rahman. It says, Ar-Rahman, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Allama al-Quran, he taught the Quran. Khalaq al-Insan, he created the human being. Allamahu al-Bayan, and taught him clear expression. Imam Muhammad, he said once, he said, now this seems out of order and illogical. Why? He said, because you have the Rahman, and then you have the taught the Quran, and then you create the human being. He said, how can you teach the Quran before the human being comes? He said, it's not out of order, it's in perfect order. He said, because you're not the human being that Allah wants until you're taught the Quran. He said, so it's in perfect order. Ar-Rahman, Allama al-Quran, Khalaq al-Insan. Now it is the Quran that shapes you. It's the Quran that designs you to be the human that he wants. Muhammad the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he also was in an environment, as we know, where he was called Majnoon, mad. And Allah had to remind him, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. And you have been raised up on the highest standard. The word there is khuluq, azim. Azim means structure, great structure. It's also connected with the bone that structures the body. But what the Imam was pointing out, he said this word khuluqin azim is from khalaqa. Khalaqa means he created. And over it, it has factor. Khalaqa. He said, but when you put dumba, and let me say this too, when he was saying this, he said, everything in the Quran is revelation. Not just its message, but the vowels, the structure of the letters, where they're placed, etc., etc., etc. He said it's revelation. He said when you say factor means it opened up. Dhamma means it has been raised up. And kresara that goes under means that it goes deep. You know, and he said you heard the expression saying, man, that was deep. You went deep on that one, brother. He said because the kesara cuts into and goes deep. But I don't want to go off on what I want to deal with. But this Muhammad now, understand, what was in him as a human being was raised to the highest potential in him. It was lifted up in his creation. So here now, we understand now that the Imam then is a leader, but he has to lead with what God has put in him to lead with. There's an ayat in the Quran, chapter 17, verse 71. You can remember that, 1771, 1771. You see, that's how you remember it, chapter 17, verse 71. And it says, Yawma nad'u kulla unasin bi imamihim. فمن أوتي كتابه بيمينه فأولئك يقرؤون كتابهم يظلموا فتيلا. It said, this day will the people be raised up with their respective imams. And you will see them being given their book in their right hand. Some translators said their record in their right hand. And then you say, and these are those who will read it, and they will not be oppressed or misplaced in fatila in the least. I was studying this verse at one time, and I asked Imam Wahid Muhammad rahimahullah alayhi, I said, Brother Imam, does this refer to you? He said, absolutely. Just like that. He said, absolutely. He said, Allah has blessed me to be the Imam in this country for every African American here that's in business and sports world, etc. He said, I'm the Imam. Now, brothers, Imams, it's very important to understand when you're reading the Quran and studying the Quran, you just can't be reading it from recitation without thought. Now, when you said the translate and their record, this will be their record, be put in their right hand. But look how it reads: "Faman utiya kitabahu biyamini," and they will be given their kitab in their right conscience. And it says, "Ulaika, fa-ulaika," and these are those kitabahum, yaqra'una kitabahum, and these are those who will be able to read it. Now, what does that say to us? Number one, you are not the Imam until you have the Quran. I know you might be saying, well, brother, I've been Imam for 25 years. Okay, fine. You had that title. But you are not the Imam that Allah wants until you get the Quran that He revealed to the best Imam, Muhammad the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And the Prophet said what? خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. The best of you is he that learns the Quran and then teach it. Two things. Ta'allama means learning. Allama means to teach. Both of these, Form 2 and Form 5, go together like that because when you teach, you learn. There's not a person who ever taught, when you teach, you're learning. Ta'alla means that you're doing is coming back to you. Just like breathing. Allah says in the Quran, وَسُبِّهِ إِذَا تَنَفَّسَ وَسُبِّهِ إِذَا تَنَفَّسَ. And the dawn as it breathes away the darkness. The word that is used for breathing is tanafasa, you know, which is from nefs, soul, tanafasa means respiratory breathing. Now, again, I know I'm in a good environment because the Imams here, you support the leadership of Imam Muhammad, so I ain't have to say, well, why he using his name. Because, some place you go around the country, they'll tell you, well, they don't like you to be mentioning Imam Muhammad. That's when I really mention it. When I find out that they don't like it. But the Imam, he was discussing this one time, and he said, Qasim, he said, Tanafasa here وَسُبِّهِ إِذَا تَنَفَّسَ. He said, this is the dawn that breathes away the darkness. He said, do you know what this is? I said, no, sir, brother Imam. He said, this is the birth of psychology from creation. He said, because the psychology has to breathe while it's being fed by the creation. He said, now what will happen to you if you're breathing and somebody put a pillow over your head? He said, they will suffocate you. He said, this world has put a pillow over the mind of humanity with lies, weak ideals, and wrong thinking.
Yes, that's right.
So they look human, but they're suffocating in their humanity because they live in a lie. What removes that, he said, is Quran. Okay. Now, so here, يَوْمَ يَدْعُونَ كُلَّ أُنَاسٍ بِإِمَامِهِمْ. On that day, where all of the people, every people will be brought up with their Imam. Their Imam. Well, Muhammad, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, what? تَرَكْتُمْ فِيكُمْ مَا إِن تَمَسَكْتُمْ بِهِمَا لَن تَضِلُّوا أَبَدًا كِتَابُ اللَّهِ وَسُنَّتِي. That I have left فِيكُمْ. Those of you who study Arabic, they translate this, I have left with you. But فِيكُمْ means what? In you. All. تَرَكْتُمْ فِيكُمْ مَا إِن تَمَسَكْتُمْ. Tamasaktum is from the word mesaka. Mesaka means to hold on, and the word connected with it like is musk, you know, musk that you put on, you know, Egyptian musk, you ever heard of that? Same word comes from that. But if we take a bottle of musk and put it on everybody in this room, out of the same bottle, when it gets on you, your deoxyribonucleic acid, your DNA is going to give off a slightly different odor than mine. Now, you might not can smell until you actually identify it, but every one of you, once you put that on, it's going to come out of you slightly different. So it's like the Quran. تَمَسَكْتُمْ بِهِمَا لَن تَضِلُّوا أَبَدًا كِتَابُ اللَّهِ وَسُنَّتِي. This that when this Quran touch you, and it gets on you, what Allah put in you is going to come out slightly different what came out in Qasim. You see that picture? So it said, Lan tadillu abada. Lan, this is why we got to get the language, the grammar. Lan is an awamil element that governs a present tense verb. Lan tadillu. You will never go astray. But it's not for just the present, but in the future too. Lan tadillu abada. Kitabullah, the book of Allah, was sunnah, and my life model example. And you know the Imam Muhammad said, he said, we really have to revisit to understand, to give the Muslim world the ideal of sunnah, because it has been put into rituals. And he said, rituals are designed to preserve knowledge. And you have to be able to go into the ritual and get the knowledge out. And we can help them. Look, let me tell you, we can help them. They're very good ritualistically and etc. And some of us just copying a bunch of rituals and just ritualizing our lives. I'm going to tell you, you already know that. Brother, the ritual, this, the ritual. But they're not saying it's the ritual, but say, this is the sunnah. Why is it sunnah? What was it in the nature of Muhammad, the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that brought out the excellence of the sunnah? It was his uswatan hasana, Imam Muhammad said. He said, nowhere in the Quran will you find the sunnah of Muhammad, but you will find sunnah tillah. Brother Imam, you dropping a lot of stuff. I follow the mujahid.
That's right. Allahu Akbar.
All right, now, I want to do this quickly because this is an intense workshop that we would need to do to understand Khalifa, Imam, and your role. The Khalifa in you, the Imam in you, and your responsibility to express it. Imam Muhammad, once he was given a short, not short, but he was emphasizing understanding Khalifa with the seed. He said the seed is where things originate from. That's why the Khalifa is one that comes from behind. He said if you want to know the nature and expression of the tree, you don't go to the leaf, the bark, you go to where? It's seed. He said so the Khalifa is like a seed that's planted in an environment that's conducive to it to grow. That's why we are called the Khulafa. He said no one person is a Khalifa. It's in the whole community. You see? So here's Adam, alayhi wassalatu wassalam, our first daddy. I'm going to talk about two daddies, Abraham and Adam. Daddy one is the one that relates to the nature. The nature. And daddy two represents the one who represents faith based upon rational inquiry to express that nature correctly in creation. W.D. Muhammad. All right. So here's Adam. Now look, let's do this quickly. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. And he said to the angel, I am going to جاعل في الأرض خليفة. I am going to create a khalifa not on the earth, في الأرض, where? In the earth. The earth is rational structure where something is planted so it grows. You didn't plant it in the water. So it said, and then so the angels, the forces in creation and etc., you know, that are aware, they had knowledge too. Imam, they say the angels don't have knowledge. Then why does it say, قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت عليم الحكيم. Glory to be, you Allah, we have no knowledge except what? What you taught us. He said, so they had knowledge too. So, and look at the answer. What were you going to make? Something that's going to cause problem, fighting, etc.? He said that, God says to them, Inni alamu ma la ta'alamun. Inni alamu ma la ta'alamun. I am knowing. See, alamu is present tense Arabic verb meaning God knows and you don't. Alamu. I am knowing ma la ta'alamun, what you all are not knowing. Okay. He straightened that out immediately. You know, and then right after that it said, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا ثُمَّ أَرَدَّهُمْ عَلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ فَقَالَ أَنْبِئُونِي. And then he taught Adam the potential nature of everything in creation in your Adamic nature. This ain't no one man sitting down. It is the Adamic nature that's in every human being. His Adamic, your daddy in you, Adam, has allowed you to name everything in creation. Tell me one thing in the creation that named itself. Did a tree name itself, a dog, a horse? Adam was able to name those things visible and invisible. He even named the space that the things are living in. Adam. But God didn't say, Adam, this is space, this is light, this is this is it. No, he put into the human being his potential to name things. But the brother Imam, we were talking yesterday, Brother Salahuddin, he was talking about ilham. He said this ilham, this inspiration, you know, is this like revelation? I said, yes. And you'll find it right in the Quran. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. It says, and he shaped and designed the soul. Allah did. فَأَلْهَمَهَا. Then he educated the soul. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. And he educated in his conscious ego. Imam said the fujura here is the ego that's looking for light but loses his way and he becomes disobedient. And the taqwa is the ego in the soul that remains true to its light and obeys Allah. He said that's why you see fujura is connected with fajr. Fajr is when the light is dim and you can't hardly see, so you're going to make mistakes because you can't see clear. That's why I said, man, can you put a little more light on that? So you can see. So here is Adam now. Adam, I'm going to do it. Adam here now. Let's move quickly through this now. Adam, to all of the forces in creation, submitted to Adam. Illa Iblis aba wastakbara wa kana min al-kafirin, except Iblis. Now this fella here, that's our problem. You want to know why? Because all of them submitted because of what? They said to God, قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت عليم الحكيم. Glory be to you, O Allah. We have what? No knowledge except for what you taught us. And what you taught Adam is more heady than us. He has a higher degree of knowledge than us. So we submit. Iblis said, hell, I ain't. I can't see it yet. Made of mud, stinking mud on top of that. And how the hell I'm going to submit to that? And I was around here running things before he got here. Okay, Iblis' problem now. He's not only refused, that was one thing. Estekbara, he became arrogant and haughty. 10th form of the Arabic verb, remember it. Not only does it mean to seek, ask, and demand, but it also means to think yourself something that you ain't. That was Iblis' problem. And what was he thinking himself? Kabir. And the root form is kabir, big. So estekbar means I'm bigger than anything what you talking about. So here's Iblis' problem. And he said, but I'm going to come from before them, from behind them, from the left and the right. Isn't that right? And Allah said, good. I feel hell up with you all. But you would not get my mukhlisina lahudina. You would not get those who are sincere to me. All right, now, Iblis, ablasa means to despair, to sulk. How come I didn't get the position? This is this attitude. He always coming to you with that when you feeling down and low, and makes these suggestions. So here's now thinking himself big. And I sometimes I use this example. Y'all remember the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, right? And the witch, every time she got in the mirror, what she say? Mirror, mirror, what? Who's the what? And what the mirror tell her? You are. Why? Because it was the mirror. She was looking at herself. That's your ego. Your ego is you looking at yourself, Imam, on the wall. Who's the heaviest in the room? Well, you are, Imam. You know the Arabic. That's Iblis. Until one day, your own reflective soul spoke to you the truth. The purity of your soul, and the mirror said, it ain't you. Well, who in the hell is it? The purity of your soul, we call him Snow White. Hell, I got to kill him. Get me an apple, an Adam's apple, and let him kill his speech, his ability, etc. I'm just doing quick connections from Imam Muhammad on these things, But you can think now on that. Now, so here, the problem that we got as Imams is that Iblis have come into our knowledge because he said, I'm going to come after you, before you, from behind you, from the left and the right. Now, here's another connection with Ibrahim alayhi wassalatu wassalam. Allah said, what did Abraham and his son build? The Kaaba. It says in the Quran, Yarafa'u Ibrahima Qawaida min al-Bayti wa Ismail. And Abraham and his son raised the Qawaida, the foundation. That's how it's translated, right? But what is Qawaid? Huh? Grammar. Thank you, brother, man. Grammar is the structure, rules, and laws of language. If I come into your language and make you an outlaw, a desperado, one who breaks the law with language, I got you. Because language is your thinking ability. And what the Imam said when he first came into the world, into the community? Words make people. And we got to do what? Remake the world. So he said, world is word, W-O-R-L-D. You take out the L, what you got? Word. He said, we make a world by remaking a word. And didn't he do, how many of you Imams taught on Yaqub's history lately? The mothership. What makes rain, hail, and snow, and earthquake? The earth is approximately coming on the water, about 3/4 of its surface, and the sun and moon having retracting about, I knew all the lessons. Every last one of them. I used to run them lessons down, and those of you who knew I used to be an officer, I used to tell you, you didn't know a lesson, I gave you 25 push-ups. I was at a program, and the brother was quoting the actual facts. I said, well, he quoted all the actual, but he forgot out one main one. 790 quadrillion, 613 trillion, 581 billion, 824 million square inches, and the black man knows every square inch. I said, Imam Muhammad said you can find those actual facts in any almanac. So, Iblis entered into the foundation. And he said, now that you have thrown me out, I'm going to come from behind them, from before them, and etc. The Imam said, Allah didn't throw him out. He threw himself out with his attitude. See, that's what people don't understand. Your attitude sometimes throw you out away from your community and etc. So he said what? It says, I will lie in la aqa'udanna. See, this word here, aqa'udanna, is the root word for qawa'id. But it's in the modus energetic form of the verb where I'm not just going to sit. I'm going to be like this. I'm energized. La aqa'udanna. I will sit ala sirata kal mustaqim. And so I was reading this one there. I said, brother Imam, I said, isn't that something? I said, Satan is right on the sirata kal mustaqim to get us off. He said, that don't read like that. He said, if he was on the mustaqim, he would be all right. I said, you're right, brother Imam. He said, that's from the objective form of the verb. He's on the outside trying to Qasim, what? Come here. No, man, I got to stay on the stride. Come here, man, I got to show you something. Man, look at this deal. Nope. All right. You get over there. He said, once you get over there, it's so decorated, pretty soon you walk around, pretty soon, damn, where the path is. You done lost your way. You're in the fujura, you're fascinated, etc. And now you're trying to find your way back to the Sirata kal mustaqim. Now, so Ibrahim alayhi wassalatu wassalam. Now, you know, Adam is made the Khalifa. And the Quran says from Ibrahim, وَإِذِ ابْتَلَىٰ إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ بِكَلِمَاتٍ فَأَتَمَّهُنَّ قَالَ إِنِّي لِلنَّاسِ إِمَامٌ. This is what the Quran says. 2 and 124 if you want to look it up sometime. It said, and he said, then Abraham was tested and he passed the test perfect. فَأَتَمَّهُنَّ. He made perfect A, straight A. And after he passed the test, قَالَ إِنِّي لِلنَّاسِ إِمَامٌ. We are going to make you an imam for all of humanity. This is in biblical language, but you know what it said, and he made the seed of Abraham like the stars in the sky and the sands on the sea. But Abraham, now, because he passed the test, Allah made him an Imam. So now here's the Khalifa, Daddy, Khalifa Adam, and here's the Imam, Ibrahim alayhi wassalatu wassalam, because he was tested in he had many tests, but one of the most strong tests that was put on Abraham, we just dealt with it in Hajj, that he met with Satan at 3 different locations because Allah told Abraham in a dream, the son that you love, that you worked for all these years and waited on, you finally got one, now he's of age to help you, now I want you to kill him. Abraham went to his son, I have to sacrifice you, I have to kill you. Did you get that from God, Dad? Yes, I'm willing. Imam Muhammad said he is father and son in the nature of Abraham, both willing to do what God said. And when he got ready to do it, what did Allah say? Your willingness to obey me is good enough. Get a lamb, get a sheep, kill it, and do what? Feed humanity. Abraham and Adam. Both are natures in you, brother Imams. In order for us to really perceive the role that we have to go to the book. This is the book that you prayed for in Al-Fatiha. You remember you were saying, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Remember that? Guide us, right? Imam Muhammad says, as soon as you turn the page, it says what? Hudan. This is the book, and it is the Hudan that you just asked me for in Al-Fatiha. All you need to be is lil muttaqin. Be conscious of God in everything. الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. Those who believe in the invisible, the bilghayb. The bilghayb is abstract. You have to trust God, brother Imam. You have to trust Him in everything. Bilghayb. وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. And you establish not just prayer, Imam Muhammad said. It says it's devotional obedience. Be obedient in your salat. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. And you spend from what you have been provided. Stop holding on to your pocket. It ain't talking about them dollar bills, that gold, that oil well, that gold is. What is the most valuable thing that you have that separates you from the whole creation? Huh? Your akil, your intelligence. The question is, how you spending it? Are you wasting your time and mind, or your mind and time on foolishness? Man, I gotta have some relaxation. You may remember when he was talking one time. Some of you may remember. He said, yeah, my wife would tell me that I need to rest. He said, I'm resting when I'm teaching.
That's right.
He said, I'm in my rest mode right now. You know. You want paradise? Obey God. You want rest? Obey God. You want to learn this religion? Study the Quran. Don't be afraid of it. Allah wants you to have it. He wants you to have the Quran. All you need is to have strength enough to get it. Yeah. So alhamdulillah. And there's so many mechanisms for it nowadays, you know. And I love what I'm seeing here. I want to make note of it. I love the workshops and things like this. I love to see more on Quran and how to learn it. We have great studies now on Quran. One of the institutes that I really love is the Mali Institute. You know, I have the Islamic learning, but the Mali Institute. I told him, man, Salim Mukman, I said, you know, people try to separate me from you sometimes. He said, yeah, they try with me too. I said, but they don't understand. We need about 50 institutes in each city. Look how many colleges they got in Boston and all these different places. All across the street from each other. McDonald's every place. Why can't we have institutes that arrive up? Thinking institutes, you know? Instructor Bilal, I read some of his material in there. He has a whole new mindset that is refining things. It's challenging, you know? But we said, well, I don't know, I don't see that in Sheikh Wabba Wabba's book. Sheikh Wabba Wabba ain't wrote that. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Many of the things that we're doing. Zarif, we were just talking. I seen his book years ago. I said, man, where you been? He said, I'm working on some new stuff. I've been in the lab. You know. Okay, he told me less than 5. I'm so glad I got my 5 senses. Praise be to Allah. I hope that, I just wanted to share that with you. The concept of Imam that's in you, the Khalifa that's in you, and the role where you stand up on this day as an Imam, being able to read your book. Because the sad thing about it, if you ain't being able to read it, you're going to have the confusions that we got. If we bring this Quran to this community and get these young brothers in this Quran and etc., we going to remake the world.
Yes. Allahu Akbar. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar. There's a whole bunch of them out there waiting. I already know it. I talk to them everywhere I go around the country. They want this Quran. Stop shucking and jiving, slipping and sliding, hiding with the book. Pick it up. It's your book. God gave it to you and gave it to your nature. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Dear Imams, we have to get started because time is always against us. It seems when we get to that food thing, we lose a little bit. So alhamdulillah, we want to make sure that we hear from our Imam. And let me just say this. I heard a couple of comments this weekend. One comment was they was thanking Imam Nuriddin for saving his family. He said, Brother Imam, thank you for saving my marriage. That was one thing he said. Somebody said, one of the Imams said. The other thing is, I was looking at that salad downstairs. It was so nice and enjoyable. I really couldn't eat anything else because the salad was looking so good. I thought about the garden. And early in the Quran, Allah speaks about the garden in reference to health. So what I'm saying to you, inshallah, I hope and pray that we reverse things and have health in the beginning of the day. Because we're looking at each other, we're seeing each other, and all of us have health issues in some way or another. Physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever it may be. So I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that next year, when we have this event, that all of us are still here, number one. Inshallah, that we're still here, but we put an emphasis on our health. So with that, I'm going to introduce Imam Nuriddin. Please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وجعل الظلمات والنور ثم الذين كفروا بربهم يعدلون وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا رسول الله الذي كتم الله به النبيين. We seek refuge with Allah from the rejected enemy with Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful Redeemer. All praise is due to Allah who created the heavens and the earth and made the darkness and the light. Then those who reject faith hold others as equal with their Lord. I testify that there's nothing worthy of worship except Allah. In his hands is the control of each and everything, and to him is the return. And I witness that our leader, Muhammad, the prayers and the peace be upon him, is the seal of the prophets, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear brother Imams, once again, assalamu alaikum. Qasim will turn you on, won't he? You know, this has been going on for a long time, listening to Imam Qasim. And I know some of us, as we were there at lunch listening to him, we said, oh boy, I would like to have what he's got. And all of us would. The question is, are you willing to pay the price that he paid to get what he has? Because it didn't just jump on him. We all know that. He had to work for it. And there were tests and trials and all of that you have to go through in order to get that. Just get yours. Get what you can get for you. Work on you. Become the best you can be. You're never going to be a Qasim Ahmed. None of us will ever be a Qasim Ahmed. It's going to be a long time before another one comes along. And there'll never be another like you. It's going to be a long time before another one comes along like you. So the more we study, the more we prepare ourselves and equip ourselves to be the best that we possibly can in this work that we do. That's going to be sufficient in Allah's eyes for us, and he will reward you for it. But we're all going to have to pay a price in order to get better. And better is not something down the road. Better is something that you become. When you get better, things get better. And it doesn't work any other way. So, it takes work. It takes effort in order to expand. Everything that we're looking for is outside of the comfort zone. It's not in the comfort zone. Leaders stretch. We have to stretch in order to get to where we need to be. Because certainly we have to be out in front of the people. The Imam said we should be 6 months to a year in front of the people all the time. And you know, you always got some sitting down there in front of you, think that they got what you got, or they can get up there and do what you're doing until it's time for them to do it. This is not easy work. It can become very, very easy for you if you'll work on yourself. So many people come to me and they say to me, they talk to me about my health, and quite naturally, you know, I'm so thankful to Allah and appreciative for what I have. But it wasn't just given to me. I had to work for this. You know, I'm 71 years of age now. Yeah, I feel great, you know. Very few aches and pains. Most times the aches and pains come if I've worked out or stretched myself too much. But other than that, I spent a lot, let me say this to you all. I spend a lot of time in the dark. I'm up most every night. Quran says, truly the rising by night is most potent for framing the word of prayer and praise. The early morning hours. And I'm up for dhikr. But dhikr for me may be a little different from dhikr for a lot of people in terms of what we think dhikr is based on what we've told what dhikr is. You need dhikr for you. You don't need somebody else's dhikr. And I understand, you know, Allah is going to always be Akbar. And these attributes are necessary for us to understand them and also apply them in our lives. But some of the things that you and I need are very, very particular, that we need to be saying to ourselves on a regular basis. Kashif, you don't know what you gave us in this last session, what you did for me in this last session. So helpful. I know where I came from. I know how I got started. I know where the root is. And now I realize if you cut yourself off from the root, then the rest of the plant is gonna die. So you can't cut yourself off from the root and expect that you're gonna survive. It won't happen that way. So all of what we got wasn't to be thrown in the trash can. Some of it we had to keep. But let me get started here. There's just so much for us to say. But let me say this, I have to start here. Because my brother, Imam Bashir Ali, our national convener, you know, I didn't know Bashir before I became a convener. And it was only after working with him and we traveled to certain cities and broke bread with one another, and Mubashir and Yusuf and then Shabazz came on in time, and Fahmi and I worked together before with the monitoring team. And then Talib, I got a chance to meet all of these brothers basically up front, and it started getting personal with us as we started working together. But Bashir has led this thing. Don't, for 1 minute, think that the leadership of this has not really been in Bashir's hand. And I'm not here to throw any sand in his eye. I ain't trying to blind him. But I do want you all to know that we got good leadership here as conveners. You got good imams working for you. All of these imams that's working as conveners here, we're committed to keep this thing going. We're not just here, we're not here. We meet just about every month to talk about the issues that are affecting us as a body. And we know the necessity of keeping our continuity, keeping our minds in the right place. We don't have no arguments. We don't have any arguments. We don't. Bashir doesn't try to put his opinions on us. He doesn't do that. It's always about what do we want to do collectively? What's the shura on this? So I didn't know him, but I've come to know him. And he is a great human being. I mean, that's just his nature. That's just his personality. He's that. That's right. Alhamdulillah. So we can testify to this. You all know him. Y'all know us. So there are no ulterior motives here for us doing this work. It's all based on service. Y'all know we ain't getting paid. Y'all ain't getting paid. We don't get paid. And even some of us, we don't even get any money to travel. That shouldn't be. If we are serving the community in these sections, then money should be allocated for travel expenses, accommodations, where we're going, those kind, at the very, very least. I mean, those things should be, look, I got one wife, right? I do pretty good in taking care of her. But I don't need another one, particularly that I can't sleep with, that I gotta take care of. So I can't make this section a wife, you know? So we need help and we need support. We need your support in order to make this thing go. So this weekend right here, right now, I'm looking at this. I said, man, we on our way. We had Aziz up here this morning. Aziz, look, this is young imams coming up. I know the Imam would have said this morning, we're on our way. And seeing that, because it could just start from him. A whole new situation could just start from him. And we got other youngsters in here that it could just start from them. So we're blessed. God has really favored us. So let's show our appreciation and our gratitude. I got to get to this health thing. Look, but Bashir, I appreciate you. I love you. All of you conveners. You know, I know your sacrifices. Mubashir's still working with us. Still helping us to do what we got to do. Here's one thing, and I'm going to transition and got to go. Look, you know you can't go nowhere without no money. Where you going to go without money? What can you do in your masjid without money? What can you do in your home without money? Do you know this community, our community, people are watching our community, people will give us millions of dollars to do what we got to do? They will give us this money. We just have to trust one another. Organize ourselves in a way where you know what's going on. And trust one another. And we'll turn this thing overnight. What you ain't gonna do it if you ain't got no money. Here's one, what is Qasim showing us? This is what something that the Imam said to us. He said, you cannot compete with this Caucasian financially. You can't compete with him politically, but he cannot compete with us spiritually. He can't compete with us spiritually. So all we have to do now is basically what Qasim just shared with us. Let's get into the Quran and the traditions of the Prophet. Rest of it's going to happen. And don't cut yourself all the way off from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Imam. You can't do that and make it. You won't. I'm convinced of that at this particular point. All right, let me say this. Getting into this health thing. Breathing is first. I'm going to talk to you all today here. But before I get to the water, the breathing is first. Oh, well, let me show you all this. Now, I got new stuff going. I got to tell you this because I'll forget about it. Because I can forget about me easily getting into this just talking about you. But I got a new website coming out. Just launched it. This is big action now. There's no small stuff. I'm not a big person, but I got people who are working with me that make me look big. Look, I'm telling you, it's a whole new day, y'all, in terms of what's going on. So you can go to the new website, is www.drnuriddin, DRNURIDDIN. That's the new website. And you can go there. We got products there. We got books there. We got CDs there. We got DVDs there. We got speaking engagements there. We got all kind of protocols there. If you want to tie into us and get your health together, we're doing all of that, you know, in terms of making life better for us. That's www.drnuriddin. And we make life is going to get better, you know, as we go on. I got a new book coming out, inshallah. It'll be on the market by the time we get to the time to be grateful weekend. And let me express my appreciation to so many of you from Connie and I, because our business never would have gotten to this point if it weren't for you all. And I hear the comments too. One of the brothers came in and told me, coming in today, he said, look, you told me something at a convention. I took some product and things started helping me, but I just didn't stay with it. And I'm saying, look, today is the first day. This is the first day. This is a new day. So I don't know where I'm finding you at this particular point, but today is the day to start building better health. I want to ask you a question before I get started here. The question is, do you want to build better health or fight disease? Yeah, because the proposition of fighting disease, you can't win. And that's what they have the This Western model of medicine have people fighting disease. More medications. I have some of these clients come to me taking 10, 12 different medications, 4 or 5 of them for the same thing. Yes. I read all kind of reports. People are always bringing to me their medical reports for me to look at, see what's going on with them. I'm gonna show you some stuff here today. I got Qasim is coming into the laboratory with me, or the laboratory with me, and we're gonna do a presentation before this is all over with today to share with you some technology that has pretty much been kept away from us in America, but people in other places of the world are using it in order to be healthy every day. So these are the kind of things that I want to share, but I just wanted to share and let you know some of the things that we're doing. And we're certainly open to coming to your cities and helping you with your people. And if at any time you all are looking for help, you can certainly, if I'm not coming to you, you can fly into Greensboro and fly out the same day. I have people do that, and they've been doing it for years. And we come in, we do analysis on them, whether it's blood tests or whether it's meridian scans, and now we're doing cardiovascular stuff on people. Things have really, really grown. So let me build this background before I get to this breathing with you, because some of you know me, some of you don't. There was nothing in my early childhood that would suggest that I would be doing this. Seeing people and helping people with their health in this country, in the Caribbean, in Canada, as I've been doing for the last 30 years. My mother didn't know anything about health. My father didn't know anything about health. My brothers and sisters, we didn't. We pretty much ate what was on the table that was fit for consumption. And that's how we came up. And once I was quite naturally, as many of you, I was raised in the church. I think that's where this spiritual foundation comes from. And once I got into my teens, I started realizing something was wrong. I didn't have the vitality and the energy that I saw people with. These people was running marathons, you know? And I was wondering, where did they get all that energy from? And then Funk and Wagnalls had put together this huge dictionary. Where you get that kind of energy to, you know, to do a dictionary like this? So I realized something was wrong. So when I got into my 20s, then I met the program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I got turned on. It turned me on. So I modified my diet, all of those white things, you know, I took out. And believe me, he wasn't telling you don't eat those white things because the white man was the devil. He was telling you don't eat those white things because they were poisons. They were poisons yesterday, and they're still poisons today. So the more you keep the white bread out, the white flour out, the white sugar out, the white rice out, there are too many other choices that you have in order for you to have to go down that road, you know? So that's where it really started, and life came back. My eyes cleared up, my health came, I had more vitality, had more energy following this diet that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave to us. Well, quite naturally, once he left us, I went back to and picked up some white rice and picked up some white bread and picked up the white stuff again. And the Imam said to us, ain't nobody told you to go back to eating that way. You did that on your own. I didn't tell you to do that, and he didn't. So we fell back into that slump. And I realized by the time I got to the end of the 70s, I was dragging bottom again. Energy wasn't where it was, you know, during the time when I was eating the way that I was. And then because of the orientation of the Imam, in the 80s, I met a man and his wife, Caucasian, German orient, I think he was German origin. Met this man and his wife. They were on the west side of the city of Buffalo, and we were on the east side. He had a nutritional center, very, very well stocked, very, very well run. My wife was looking for a skincare line to market. And so we go over there. She calls this place in Texas, and Texas referred her to these people on the west side of Buffalo. I didn't even know that they were there. So we went there, and the man looked at us as we were talking. He said, you know, you all look like you're healthy. He said, yeah, are you interested in learning more about health? I said, yeah. He did this analysis on us, found out that we wasn't as healthy as we looked. And And it started there, and he propositioned me. He says, I got a couple of companies that I'm associated with. If you get involved with these companies, then I'll teach you what I know about health. He said, but there's only one stipulation. So I said, well, what is that? He said, you got to go out and touch somebody else. You can't just get it and keep it for yourself. You got to go out and help somebody else. So I traveled with this man in the Northeast and in the Midwest for 2 years. He was an iridologist, nutritional consultant, ultimately a naturopathic doctor. His wife was a colon therapist and a nutritional consultant. I studied with him for 2 years. And I remember being in the Anna Clayton Powell building, reading Eyes Behind Him in the late 80s. And he gave me this form. As he read, I had to read behind him. This is how I learned iridology and about nutrition, how to put together protocols. I never went into a classroom in those first 2 years. And then after that, I started realizing I need more knowledge. So I enrolled in the Clayton College of Natural Health and the American Holistic Health College out of Birmingham, Alabama. That's where I got a bachelor's, master's, and PhD, and a naturopathic doctor's degree. I went for the knowledge. The degrees and stuff just came. But, I mean, this is how this happened. I never went in the classroom, but one thing happened. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave me this insatiable appetite for study. And they sent me all of these books. I'm doing all this stuff outside of the classroom. I remember having a box of books come to me. It was so many books in Mubashir. It was so many books in that box. I looked in there, but I started. And just like the experiences that many of you have had, I was up all night reading science. I was just, and started to realize something that had happened to me, because all of us thought we were scientists when we were following the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We were told that we were scientists. Some of us thought we were one of the 24. But I'm just saying, right? And so I had this insatiable appetite. And vitamins and minerals and nutrients and carbohydrates and fats and nucleic acids and proteins, and man, I was the little boy in the candy store for years, and I'm still like that today. I probably read 20 books a year, at least. Some of them for the second and third time. And I'm saying all of it, that you need that kind of appetite. How many books a year you think Qasim reads? You think Qasim just read the Quran 1, 2, 3, 4 times? How many books you think he reads a year? How many books you think Kashif reads a year? I'll guarantee you he's reading 10, 12, 15 books a year. He's touching them, even if he don't read the whole thing. He's touching that many. Same thing with Aziz. You can't come up here and do this and share what they're sharing without you feeding. You can't feed unless you're feeding. So that's something all of us have to know. Friday come real fast, don't it? Jummah come real fast. If this ain't your calling, you find out in time. Look, I'm trying to get to this subject, y'all. But it's just so much. Love you all so much, you don't know. I remember this. I'm coming on. But I remember this. I remember early on I had two rich people. One of them, Yahya Abdullah, my Imam down in Jacksonville, Florida. His former captain, Abdullah Shah, multi-millionaire in Jacksonville. And he had a friend, who was Bill's last name? Anyway, all of them became clients of mine. Then they were rich. These guys was rich, right? So I was in Bill's office one day, and Shah was in the office. And they said to me, he said, Doc, now if you went out on the golf course, you ain't have to deal with just about two of these people out there, then your whole situation would change. So I knew that a long time ago. But I just couldn't walk away from us. I love the Imam. And I love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I love the sacrifice that the Imam was making. I'll tell you all this. Share this with you. Because I could have had, and I'm all right today, but I could have had a lot of money a long time ago. I was in New York when Ali Rashid passed. I was the resident imam in Buffalo, New York from 1980 to 1988. And Rashid was in New York at Masjid Malcolm Shabazz. And Rashid would bring me into New York, I would bring him into Buffalo. And he passed. And I was going in and out of there. Bacha was assisting him at that time. And Kareem, many of you all knew Kareem, Abdul Shakur, from up here in this area, was also working with Rashid and I. We were all working at Masjid Malcolm Shabazz. And Rashid passed. And I was working with a brother by the name of Willie Larkin. We were involved in a business in network marketing. Rashid passed. And so I remember I was in the St. Moritz, downtown Manhattan. We had just done a meeting in there. And he said, what are you going to do? Because I had to make a decision as to whether or not I was going to continue on with this business or was I going to go work with the masjid. And Bacha really didn't have the experience. He had never been an imam before. Kareem had it, but Bacha didn't have it. And so he asked me that day, he said, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to have to go help the community. He said, well, he said, Doc, it's a good answer. He said, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. That's what he told me. I chose to help this community as opposed to take the money. I'm just sharing that with you all today. I could have went to the golf course a long time ago, you know, but this religion saved my life. You know, it gave me my life. I'm indebted to Allah, always will be, and to many of you. Qasim will always be my imam. Qasim will always be my imam. Qasim can't call me and ask for something. If I got it, he gonna get it. This is the reality. And that's how it should be with you all. Any of you all as imams. It should be the same way with all of us. We should be willing to share what God has blessed us with one another. This is a fact. Okay. All life is starting with breath. It's going to end with breath. Breathing is first. If you got a problem with your breathing, it's a direct correlation to the problem that you have with your health. I tell you that now. There are breathing exercises. Most of you breathe too shallow. You don't breathe deep enough. Most of us, you know, your lungs have an upper part to them, a middle part to them, a lower part to them. Most of you are just breathing at the top of your lungs. And when you breathe like that, then you literally allow disease to start developing in the lower parts of your lungs. So you have to get it to a point where you start changing the breathing process. Now, you know, yogis, and I know some of us may say, well, yogis or Hindus. I don't have a problem with Hindus, because I ain't looking to follow their religion. I just want to know, what do they know that preserves life? And one of the things that they know is they know about breathing. So I'm going to suggest this to you. Get you some books on yogis. It ain't not going to convert you. But I want you to learn something about your breathing so that you can start breathing better. All of you need to do more exercises. All of us do. I need to do more exercise. But I'm out 2 or 3 times a week. For the most part, I swim. And it's quite natural that helps me with my breathing. But I do breathing exercises. I probably right now can hold my breath for maybe 1.5 minutes, sometimes 3 minutes. You say no. I'm telling you true. And it has made a tremendous difference in my health. So breath is first. You start breathing, that's when life starts. Qasim just mentioned it. I put a pillow over your head, you can't get the breath, that ends it. That's where it stops. So breathing is the beginning of it. Breathing is the end of it. If you want to get your health in order, you got to start breathing better. Get out and start exercising. Just that you say, well, I can't go too far. Well, just start a block today. And then after block, you'll get in 2 blocks. In time, you'll get in 3, and so on. But build yourself up. Because the oxygen is necessary in order for you to survive. Air is necessary. But the air is mixed with oxygen and nitrogen. You have to realize this too, that same air that you take in, oxygen and nitrogen, also takes your life from you. Yes, there's a free radical in there that leads to complications in your health. So you need anti-nutrients. You need antioxidants coming into the system every day. Because things rust outside from oxidation, they rust inside from oxidation. So breathing is first. Next, there's no life without the water, the spirit, and the blood. The water, the spirit, and the blood. Jesus tells Nicodemus, you got to be born again. He said, born of what? He said, water and spirit. Meaning intellectual activity. And also the spirit, the word of God, has to be necessary in order for new life to come into existence. It won't come any other way. So the mind, right? The mind has to be working properly in order for you to have good health. If you don't develop a health consciousness, you're not going to get good health. Qasim just told me that Lieutenant Larry showed up about 6 months ago. I said, who is Lieutenant Larry? Lieutenant Larry was Larry before Qasim became Qasim. And Larry said, hey, if you keep this pattern of behavior up, life is going to be a whole lot shorter for you than it can be. And there was a reality that set in. So he modified diet. He changed his diet. Oh, let me say this to you all. Qasim is here on his 23rd anniversary, here this weekend. He and his wife got married on this date 23 years ago. Nadia is here. And he's 6 months. He just had a piece of pie last night and hadn't had nothing sweet in 6 months. Give him another round of applause. See, I listen to all these things. I watch you. I do. Where is McCauley? Go find him. Bring our brother in here. See, we should not have let him out. We should not have let him out. When you heard him heading towards the door, you should say, you stand for this workshop. I wish I would have known he was going somewhere. Why? Because he need this. Huh? Yeah. You can't run away from this and make it. I'm going to challenge you. There ain't no question. I'm going to challenge you. I challenge all my clients. If you want better health, you got to work for it. And you cannot be in denial about what's going on with you. I watch you all. You sit here, you all right for 20, 30 minutes, then you gone. You starting to sleep. Now your subconscious mind is still awake, it's still listening to what's going on, but consciously you gone. Don't you know you're supposed to go, be able to get up in the morning, go to work, come home, deal with the wife, deal with the kids, and just lay down because you know it's time to go to bed, and not because you burned out? I'm telling you, you don't know how good you could feel. Because most of you haven't felt good in a long time. And let me say something to you. If you don't feel well, you don't perform well. The water, the spirit, and the blood. You young Imams. I'm going to tell you what Qasim told me. Qasim said, Dr. Nuriddin, for what you do, the Quran is full of it. He said, what I want to see you do is just go into the Quran and start pulling these verses out of here that deal with health, that deal with the water, that deal with the spirit, that deal with the blood. And the Quran is full of it. So I'm looking for the day. I've said this, I'm going to work hard for the next 5 years. Then I'm going to retire in city life for 15. And then from 90 to 120 at least, I'm gonna go up into the mountainside. I'm telling you. How many of y'all wanna come along? All of you should be in the 120 club. At least that. You have to set it as an objective and work for it. Y'all think Methuselah, look, I heard what Qasim said yesterday. Many of you did too. You think Methuselah wasn't here for 920 years? I'm talking about physically. I met a man at Hajj. God is my witness. Y'all, we were on Hajj together. This is 1981, 1982. They told us this man was 150 years old. I had my doubts at that particular time. He was a judge from Somalia. He wasn't wearing any glasses, didn't have any teeth, certainly didn't look like he was 150 years old, and it wasn't until later that I started believing that he was 150 years old. You have people on the globe today who are 200 to 500 years old. On the globe today, up in the Himalayan mountains. Do you believe it? I'm telling you. I'm telling you. The secrets are here. God has revealed them to certain people. And we've been blessed. So I want to write on this. So Aziz, Imam, Salahuddin, y'all can't do this fast enough. Because I really want to go somewhere and just study and write and publish. If you don't publish, when you go down, it goes down. I know your father, know your grandfather, know their works in this community. Now I see you sitting here. Don't you know this is a real blessing for us? He wrote this book, America's Imam. Sitting here in front of me today. Salahuddin, know his brother, know his mother. All of them dedicated to this religion. Qasim told me something coming in the door just now. He said, Brother Imam, he said, I don't care what you do, don't quit. He said, Imam never quit. Imam never gave up. And neither can we. Okay. All right, Nuriddin, come on. The body, the mind, and the spirit. Body and mind and spirit all combine to make the creature, human and divine. Of this great Trinity, no part denied. Affirm the great eternal I. Affirm the body, beautiful and whole, the earth expression of immortal soul. Affirm the mind, the messenger of the hour, to speed between thee and the source of power. Affirm the spirit, the eternal I. Of this great Trinity, no part denied. Ella Wheeler Wilcox. And that's what makes us all up. Mind, body, and spirit. You have to address all of this. You can't just deal with your the spiritual aspect. The Quran is loaded, but the Quran is a guide. The Quran is leading you. The Quran is pointing you. The Quran is directing you to science, anatomy, physiology, biology, all of these sciences, psychology, all of that's in the Quran. And God will awaken you to it. Yes? But you have to awaken first. Allah says, I'm not changing your condition until you first change. You don't take no action, I don't take no action. You move, I move. You don't move, God don't move. Don't you know God can't give you something that you can't receive? You roll over, you should roll out. You wake up during the middle of the night, you roll over, roll out. Get up for tahajjud. Get up and connect. Make that connection. Ask Allah to bless you. I'm telling you, your dhikr has to be different than the dhikr of somebody else. Do you know why it's so important for us to hold on to this orientation that we got from the Imam? Do you know every religion has some superstitions in it? Why would you want to adopt somebody else's superstitions? And many of us, we don't know that that's what we're doing. We follow Salafiyah, we go Ahmadiyyas, we follow all of these religions have superstitions in them. They asked the Imam. The Imam is asking Bin Baz right here. I wasn't there. In Saudi Arabia. Which of these school of thoughts should we follow? Bin Baz told the Imam, none of them. If you are still hesitant to say that the Mujaddid has been here, you got a problem. You have a real problem. Imam said they come every 100 years, not like you talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's when the time is necessary for them to show up. And he was one. He played it down. He's gone. So we ain't got to worry about inflating his ego or throwing sand in his eyes. You couldn't do it anyway because he just wasn't that type of person. But you shouldn't hesitate at this particular point. Man, you should be so happy that you were here when the Mujaddid came through. That's right. And it looked like you. Yeah. That's right. He talked like you. He had your experiences. You should be so happy and so grateful to God that he allowed you to live as a mortal during this day and time. Yes. Water, the most important element. Allah tells us everything is made from water. So it's first and foremost. Nothing should touch your lips before water when you get up in the morning. Now look, if you can't pray before you put it on the outside of your body, shouldn't that tell you something about how important it is for you to put it on the inside? Right. All these are signs. No tea, no coffee, no milk, no juice before water. Your body is electrical. Your body is looking for that electricity that water gives you. First and foremost, oh man, time is on me. I'm going to mess around and ain't going to be able to get to you. What time am I supposed to start? Y'all know y'all started me late. Y'all started me late, man. Water. I'm going to have to bring you up here in a minute. Water. 75% of your brain is water. All these other factors in water, but I gotta hurry on through here now. Just show you all some other things. You want to be drinking alkaline water, not just any kind of water. But bad water is better than no water. That's right. You gotta have water. I call bad water this water in these bottles. I'm drinking it too. I gotta drink it, but that's bad water. Water that's sitting. All of us need ionizers. You need an ionizer in your house where you filtering your water and also splitting the H2O molecules so that you're drinking an alkaline water. That's what we got to have. And we're going to preserve ourselves. Damn it, set yourself apart from the rest of this social order. God has sanctified us. But you got to fall into that. He done set you aside. Oh, it's a huge thing in Abraham's life. In the book, Abraham is asking for his children to be leaders. God says, yeah, but not those that, paraphrasing, are not in accord with my will. These are laws that's governing over the heavens and earth. You have been set in this creation to expand on it. God says to us, nature unaided fails. Nature unaided fails. The generic law can only go so far. You're the Khalifa here, you're the ruler here. Old Testament tells you you're in the image and likeness of God. Don't get messed up in the head. When you hear this kind of language, Imam said, I understand the language. He said that same creation you see in the Genesis is the same thing that you see in the Quran. This Khalifa, this type that's in the mortal, that same type is in the man that's being created in the Genesis. Oh, we got some study to do, Imam. I'm with you. We need to find a place. 5 or 6 days. No cell phones, no nothing. Just the Quran. Yes. Do you all know what you got inside you? Most of us don't. Just that book. Now you can bring some other references if you chose to. But I'm telling you what you got already. If you've been a student of this Imam, our Imam, since he was here and the time that he left, you're powerful. You're very, very powerful. I don't care where they sit you at. I'm talking about the weakest one of us. I'm serious. I don't care where they sit you at. Alkaline water first. That's where you're going. Bottled water. Is it really healthy for you? I'm going to just tell you, I can't show you all this. No, because time is running on me. I got something else I want to show you. Look at all these different reactions that will come just as a result of drinking tap water. Many of us don't know this, and many of us just go to the tap and we just drink like it's okay. Your bottled water is going to be, in some cases, in most cases, better than your tap water, but believe me, the tap water has more regulation on it than bottled water. It does. Every municipality is under an obligation to make sure that they comply with the regulations of the government to stop pandemics and epidemics from taking place. Most of all the water I've tested is acid down through the years. Listen, I'm saying to you, I work to be like this. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I work to be this way. So it ain't gonna just be given to you. This power of selection and the power of initiation, your imagination. Somebody was talking about imagination today. I said, Lord, 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 we're in the right place here today. Just learning how to use these faculties, your Imams. Your 5 senses, nobody have to tell you how to use them. But these higher faculties, your reason, your memory, your will, your intuition, your perception, your imagination, you have to learn how to use them. Every teacher has to know how to use them in order to be effective with their students. Do you know most school teachers don't know anything about these faculties? The imagination is being used and they call it daydreaming in the children. Oh, there's so much that we got to share with one another. I'm just saying to you. So pharmaceuticals in the water now. They're finding more pharmaceuticals. You can't drink that stuff. And you have to teach this to the public. Ours is a job to keep sickness away from their door. Where does it start? Well, it starts in your mind. You know that's where it starts at. But you can't get outside of this chemistry. Time is on there. Fluoridation. Can't deal with all this. Just keep moving there. Huh? I'm going to run through these. Allah was talking to us in the Quran and said, look, all the good things are made available for you. Now you can eat the meat, it tells you. But then I need, you know, some of these students in grammar to help me with a lot of this. But when I read certain ayats in the Quran, I think about this stuff. I don't just accept what Yusuf Ali said. Not today. Or Mamadou Pictor. I don't just accept what they say. I questioned myself. I said, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Nuriddin, doggone it, you know enough. Go get you a dictionary. What do that word mean? I know it don't mean that. What else does it mean? Or what else could it mean? And I look at this, I'm a doctor. I go and look at this stuff. This is one thing that the Imam said. He said, you want that PhD to grow? Put it in the Quran. Always let us know. You ain't got nothing, young man. That little PhD, take it over there, put it in the Quran. You want it to grow? That's how it has grown for me. They have me in these international organizations, Qasim. I come off of Jefferson Avenue. I don't tell them what my background is. They wouldn't believe me anyway. But I wouldn't want to prejudice them, you know? I wouldn't want them to say, well, how'd you get in here? Because I've had that question before, too. Only by the grace of God. That's how I got in here. You don't know where I came from, how I got here. I was dead. And God brought me back to life. Now I'm sitting here with you. These are powerful people. And I'm at the head of the class. Only because of the Imam. I don't have nothing. God blessed us. What I did have was a spirit to learn. And I took my knocks. I got kicked in the butt, in the ass, just like the rest of y'all. By the Imam. When mine wasn't right where it was supposed to be, I got hit in the rump too. But I never thought I was big. I never thought that. I don't think that today. Doors fly open. Money come from everywhere, Qasim. I mean, every time I turn around, it's money. How would y'all like that? Every time you turn around, just money just comes from everywhere. Oh, y'all don't want, y'all, are y'all serious? I'm talking to, am I talking to the right group? Where's Sulaiman? I'm with you. I'm coming with you now. I got some frustrations too. Y'all don't want no more money? You can't get enough money. You just got to do the right thing with it. Money only makes you more of what you already are. If you're a good person, you're just going to become a better person with money. If you're a bad person, you can be worse with money. So we got to get out of this mindset, the wrong mindset about money. Make money your friend. Money needs you. You do know that. It's in earth. What is it going to do without you? Money needs you. You say, I need money. Money needs you. Let me tell y'all something. Rich people don't work for money. They let money work for them. That's right. This is what I've been doing since I learned this. I don't work for money. I take money and let money work for me. Yes. Okay, come on up. I got to show you all this. 1979, the Russians, the Japanese, the Chinese came together in Cuba and did a study of thousands of people from around the globe. You know, we wasn't even there because of the embargo. They put together data over the time now of millions of examinations that have been done on people from around the globe. Show you how law works. 30-year mentor of mine called me maybe 16 months ago and said, I got something that may interest you, Dr. Nuriddin. I said, well, okay, what is it? So he told me what it was. These were products, nutritional products. And then he said, oh, by the way, I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2013. I said, is that right? He said, yeah, I had to have surgery. This is a man. He said, I had to have surgery. They put me on chemotherapy. And then I started having these powerful side effects as a result of using chemotherapy. And he said, I started using these products and right away, the side effects went away. So he got involved with that company, and anyway, long story short, about 16 months ago, I got involved with that company. Well, he's in New York, he's in Brooklyn, maybe 8 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago. And he goes into this naturopathic doctor's office looking, because he's still fighting the cancer. Cancer has spread to the prostate and some other places. He's still fighting cancer. He goes into the office. She wants to use some of these products for her son because the son is experiencing autism. So she gets some product, the son starts using them, autism starts to subside, and she calls him back. So he goes back into her shop, and the next time he goes back into the shop, her son is doing an analysis on a client. He said, well, what is that? So they said, well, it's a Nuriddin scale. He said, well, I'd like to have it done on me. So he had it done on him. After he left out, he called me. He said, Doc, you need to take a look at this. I said, what is it? He said, well, they just hooked me up to a computer and so on and so forth. I said, well, what did they do? He said, well, they just touched me in certain places. I said, well, what were they probing you with? So he didn't know all of it. Anyway, he ties me into the lady. So he tells me I have a conversation with her. She's 30-year naturopath. Been involved in the naturopathic community for 30 years. And then she says, well, let me tie you into the person that I got it from. So I thought this person was in New York City. So I call them, they call me back. I said, well, I have an interest, but I want to use this on me to see if it works. So he said, no problem. He said, where are you at? I said, well, I'm in North Carolina. He said, well, I can fly into Charlotte. I said, okay. So then I said, well, maybe I can meet you in New York. He said, well, okay. So anyway, he sent me some information on it. After I read the information, and then I thought about what my friend told me, how accurate it was, because I asked him, I said, well, how accurate? He said, very accurate. I said, look, I called the guy back, I said, how quickly can you get me up and running? How much does this cost? He told me what it cost. And I said, okay, I'm ready to go. He said, I can have you up and running by Tuesday. Well, I didn't get it until that following Saturday. I've never seen anything as comprehensive as this, what I'm getting ready to do here with you now. But this is what we call a whole body scan. It literally tells you about every organ and every system in the body, spinal column, and then prints you out a report just based on what's going on with your life. And it is unique to you. So let's do this. So what I need to do now, I need to take over this. So I gotta take this out here now, right? I need to get some information from him. And since that time, anyway, long story short, this person was in Trinidad and Tobago. I thought they were in New York. They weren't in New York. He's in Trinidad. So anyway, I connect with him, tell me how to get started. Now, what I'm going to do for him, there's 24 meridian points. And how many of y'all know what a meridian is? Meridian is a path. Meridian is a channel. I-85 is a meridian between Greensboro and Charlotte. It's an open system. 85 is an open system. You can get on and get off down that channel. I'm just putting a little alcohol on here. A little solution in here. So we'll pick up the electrical current.
So this is what now?
I'm going to pick up the vibration that's actually going on in the meridians in his body.
And the meridians, through the meridians, you can Hell simple.
Yeah. Glasses down. I need you to hold this. Take your ring off. I need you to hold this in this hand. Cup your hand. Great. Okay, so we're gonna start over here, right? Come here. Turn it over. Check your blood pressure. Take off.
Now you're taking his blood pressure.
Yeah.
You're not gonna tell us all it's fine, right?
Probably won't see it all. We ain't gonna have time to do it all. What's your height?
6'0", 6 feet.
Pulse is 110. Too high. It's too high. And what you're telling me what your overall health is. So your height is what?
6'0",
6 what?
6'0".
And your weight?
Like 248.
240. 96. And the pulse is 110.
It's hot. I don't usually run that high.
The server. Where's mine? Yeah, man, I'm just about there. I mean, we've already got the test done. I just need now to get them to send it down to me. No, I need this hotspot. I need to connect to this hotspot.
They send the results back to you that quick?
Yeah.
Wow.
Why are you open for me?
Airplane mode has been turned off.
Where's mine at? I can't receive mine. Let me go here again. Because I don't have my Wi-Fi. It's not giving it to me. Give it to me here. Why don't you give it to me? I got Aziz's phone. Aziz, was that your phone? Was that one yours? Aziz, you got an iPhone? Whose is it? Who's Idris? I got somebody's. I need to pick up somebody's iPhone for them to send this down. Mine isn't picking it up. I need somebody's hotspot.
It's on the top.
Where? Okay. What's your key?
Got it?
Yeah. 7, 6, 9, 6, 10, 9,
Connecting to server, okay.
Done. Okay. Put you with
Report received.
Okay, it's done. You can put your witch card back on. There we go. Now this here, right? They just sent me this information all the way back down. This is scanned on his whole body. And you see that 67%? That's telling you what the overall health is. You see all this in the dark spots here on the back? The green tells you that everything that you see as green is good. What you see as yellow is normal. What you see as red. What you see in red, go ahead back. You just telling the way? Can y'all see? And what you see over here in the maroon is back. All this is bad. So we would need to start correcting your health in these particular areas. The The biggest problem right here, right now, is your gallbladder. Your gallbladder is number one, your spleen is number two. Your immune system is pretty high too as a system. Your urinary organs we need to address. Your pancreas, do you have a problem with your sugar?
Yeah.
You got a sugar problem, okay. Do you have a digestive problem with digestion?
No.
Not that you know of. Do you still have your gallbladder?
Yeah.
Okay, but we need to work in that area. Show you what it's going to tell us. Okay, see where the doctor is? He's just about to go off. Green is good, yellow is normal, red is bad, maroon, right? Talking about 100% possibility of inflammation of your gallbladder. So that's the first place that we got to work on. Complaints, discomfort, or pain in the right hypochondrium here. Bitter taste in the mouth, unstable, possibly, movements of the bowel, or maybe no complaints. Because see, your gallbladder is one of these organs, is what we call a silent organ. Your tonsils, your gallbladder, your appendix, your spleen, you can live without them. And because you can live without them, you could be having problems with them and not even know it. I tell you, the spleen is probably the most forgotten organ out of all of us. And let me tell you what kills the spleen. Sugar. Sugar kills your spleen. Your spleen is what builds your platelet count. Those people that hemorrhage to death and those types, when the spleen isn't functioning properly, that starts to happen. So you've got a problem here with the spleen. Your pancreas, the sugar. Here's one of the things Chinese doctor taught me a long time ago. We got to balance your sugar. If you don't get the sugar balanced, then everything else is going to stay out of balance. And the sugar is a part of the endocrine system. In most cases, when one of those endocrine glands get out of balance, they all get out of balance. Your pineal gland, your pituitary gland, your thyroid gland, the parathyroid gland, the pancreas, your adrenal glands. That's all that's all the endocrine system. And that's where all your hormones are produced, in the endocrine glands. And so when they get out, in fact, many of these people today that have prostate cancer, what these doctors are giving them now is shots to deal with the production of hormones in the endocrine system, because they say, well, your endocrine system is out of whack, and that's why you have a problem with your prostate. These are real problems that's going on, Imams. I mean, look, this technology is inexpensive, it's non-invasive. I don't have to undress you, I don't have to put you on a table, I don't have to pull your blood to see what's actually going on with you. The Chinese have it, the Germans have it, the French have it, the Japanese have it, the Taiwanese have it, the Nigerians have it. It's everywhere in those countries, but it's not in this country because it doesn't fall into their model of business. It's not expensive enough. This is the most expensive healthcare system in the world. It's on the front page of the paper every day, we're seeing it. So the question is, what are you going to do about your own health? You got to do something about your own health, and you got to share this with your people. We can't leave them just believing that everything is okay. You know, these things, and I'm not the only person. You all have naturopaths. You got people who are involved in herbs and nutrition in your environment. Qasim and his wife, they're involved in health and nutrition. You got people in your masjids and those all these masajids that are now involved in naturopathic medicine. They're there. Use those people. Let's go back. Take the white rice out, take the white flour products out, take that stuff out. At least when you have your functions, don't serve that stuff. Start sending the message to our public. We got to improve our health. One of the things about during the time of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that made us so strong was the fact that we had health. I'm coming. Imam, I'm coming. I'll see you after me. I can't get into this chart here, but I want to show you this one here. Now there's a direct relationship between your spine and these organs in your body. So this is going to tell me right now how far out of alignment he is. Well, I can see a lot of compression going on in his spine. The longer these lines are here, then the more they need to be adjusted. And all of them are attached to certain organs in your body. So until you go and get you a spinal adjustment, go see your chiropractor and have your spine adjusted. Go see your massage therapist and have them start working on your spine for you to improve that nerve flow from your spine to these organs in the body. It's critical. We gotta put stuff in your body. I'm gonna create a protocol for you. I'm gonna send you an 8-page report. Let me show you the report that I'm getting ready to send to him. This is his report. Did you know you were born on a Monday? Did you know you were born on a Monday?
No.
Well, you were born on Monday. You were born Monday, January 16, 1961.
Okay.
All right, now this is his report. Is he gonna give it all to me here? He won't. Not gonna give it all to me here. He's probably got an 8 or 10 page report behind this on all the organs and all the systems in his body. On his spine, recommendations to go to a cardiologist, a endocrinologist, gastroenterologist, based on the things that I'm seeing, recommending for you to go to all of these different specialists. I'm gonna send you this report. I'm gonna create a protocol for you in terms of where you need to start at with this. If you do this, I think you'll start turning your body around. I can't guarantee anything, but I can say this. If you start making these adjustments and changing some of the dynamics that's going on, life will change for you. I appreciate you doing this for me. Okay. And sorry about
We're going to have a couple of questions for you, man. One question is there a price to this assessment?
Yes, it's
What's the price?
$150 for the assessment.
$150 for the assessment. Is there any more questions?
And then quite naturally, you have to finance your own, the protocol that I create for you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my wife and my son, we practice natural medicine. Is there any way that you can purchase this equipment?
I need to talk to some people.
Do you accept any type of insurances?
No. Mine is cash and carry. We're naturopaths. Any other questions? Imam. Okay.
I think about 25 years ago, Dr. Nuriddin introduced me to a book called Tissue Cleaning Through Biomanagement. And I got the cleaner board from my digital cleaner, and it cleaned out my whole colon. And I began to teach around the country on how to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. But I was on a plane with the Imam, flying back. We were flying back from someplace. So I showed him the photographs of what came out of me. And I had something that came out that was long as my colon almost, that just flushed out. And he said, "That came out of you?" I said, "Yes, sir, brother, man." He said, "And how much water you said you had to use?" I said, "Well, you use 5 gallons of water and et cetera, and you flush your system out." And he said, "That's a lot of water." I said, "Brother, man, you use more water than that taking a shower." He said, "You're right." You know, I think. He said, "You know something?" And I'm going back to what Nuriddin was saying earlier about health and the Imams. He said, "You know, one of the reasons my father was so successful is because he began to address the health in our community." And he said, and we've gotten away from that. He said the Imams need to at least speak on health at least twice a month in the community. you know. And I'm bearing witness to something he's saying to us as imams. He said we need to talk about the health. We don't talk about it no more, you know. And it is deteriorating. He said even myself, you see. So I'm just sharing you a conversation I had with Imam Muhammad on the plane, bearing witness to health. That if we have to talk on health, study it, read on it, and make comments. And for a while I was teaching around the community on health, and I still do. Right now I deal with the Black Sea, and I talk about that because it's healthy, you know. So, and we have to find ways that are inexpensive, you see, for us, you know, to be able to take care of ourselves, you know. And when I told him that in the last 6 weeks I lost 20 pounds just by changing my diet. You know, he said 6 months, I'm over 6 weeks. You know, my wife would keep asking me all the time, when are you delivering? So my stomach kept growing. You know, you get out the shower, she said, when is it due? so I said soon. You know. So, well, alhamdulillah, look, let me tell you something. Allah's blessing me because, like I said, I went back to training that I got in the Nation of Islam. You know, the discipline that I had. That's why I told him I had to go get Lieutenant Larry. I woke him up. I said, look here, I need what you need. I said, I need the discipline that we used to have, you know, as the FOI. You know. And so my diet began to change. I stopped eating meats, sweets, you know. My wife still get on me now because I don't rest. Because I'm up all night studying and different things like that. You know. And I'm going to work on that too. But I just wanted to bear witness to what Imam Nuriddin was saying about the imams. We need to start teaching them health. You know, some type of it. At least put it in your khutbah. That's what the Imam was saying. At least put it in your khutbah. You see, not just the spiritual health, but the physical health. That's something.
Let's go to conclude this portion.
My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I do business as Light Source Productions. I provide professional services in the area of strategic video communications. First, what we do is we help you craft your message using what I call the rule of the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. We do event documentation, content acquisition, full-scale productions, editing, and of course distribution through our social media television network. And with social media, video is more important now than it has ever been. Whether you're talking big business, small business, nonprofit, church, or just an individual. Let's say you plan you're planning an event, a wedding, whatever the case may be. But let's say a big event, but no video. And you spent all this time, all these hours to put this event on, and maybe 100, 200 people attend the event. But more important than that is that thousands could attend by watching it on social media. But of course, you don't think about this until after the event is over. You can't afford not to capture it for social media. And despite what people think, I am affordable. Give me a call. Let's plan your next video project and share it with the world on my social media television network. I promise you that you will have the attention of one person, me.